What's going on, guys? It's Rylan with Rylan's Amazing Photography, and welcome to today's video on how to stop Nikon from dying. But let's roll the intro first. Today in this video, I'm going to be talking about how Nikon is dying, and I'm going to be talking about solutions to the problem of Nikon dying. However, before we get into today's video, I want to remind you guys to go down below and like today's video. While you're down there, you might as well go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you see more of me, because you definitely want to see more of me, because yeah, you should. You should. Anyways, today in this video, I'm covering Nikon dying and how to stop it. I mean, it's pretty rough. I'm going to talk about some ideas on how to stop them from dying. Are they really dying? And I'm going to be covering some facts and some knowledge. If you're interested in purchasing some of my prints, you can go online now, www.artpal.com/RAP. The link is also down below in the description. You can purchase my prints on mugs, canvases, fine art prints, and framed prints. And remember, when you purchase that helps support this channel, and it helps support me. I get a certain percentage of that sale. So please make sure you go and buy a print. It would be a great Christmas gift this time of year. That also leads me to tell you guys there will not be a video Thursday because of Thanksgiving. I'm going to be spending time with my family. I hope you are yours too. So now, finally, let's get into today's video on. I also want to say a big influencer to this video was Tony and Chelsea Northrup. They just did a video on this the other day, and they're two fantastic YouTubers, so I've got to give them credit for this idea. The link to their video, which is more in detail than this one, will be down below in the link in the description. It's also linked right here on the top right hand corner, so make sure you go and check out their video. They're great YouTubers, great people. They have out a bunch of books. I totally recommend checking them out. So I want to start this off by saying you should totally care. You might be sitting there saying, just get out and shoot. Who cares if their sales are dying? It's a big company. Everything's going to be okay. Well, you should care, because quite frankly, when you buy camera gear from a company, you're either spending, you're spending probably around $1,000. And that's either going to be a good $1,000 or a bad $1,000. And you can save yourself thousands of dollars by having knowledge about things in the industry like this, such as Nikon potentially going downhill. It can save you thousands upon thousands of dollars. So you should definitely care if you're saying you don't. So what caused this problem in the first place? Why is Nikon where they are? Why are they dying? Why are their sales failing? Why am I even having to make this video? Well, back when many camera companies started making the switch to mirrorless systems, there were two companies that decided that they were just going to sit there and do nothing, and that was Nikon and Pentax. This resulted in Nikon rushing the Z systems, the Z6 and the Z7, and putting them out way too fast before they were ready. In fact, their live view system is based off the D850, which many photographers hated. The D850 does not have a good live view system. Not a very good thing for them to base their Z6 and Z7 on. When the Z7 was released, its price was $3,400. Now in November of 2019, it's selling for $2,700. That is an extreme price drop, and that's not good. That's Nikon saying, this is failing, we need to sell this. Let's drop the price, maybe more people will buy it. Starting a system that's not ready to be sold to the public out with a price of $3,400 was a bold move from Nikon, and I'm not sure that I support it completely at all. Something else that caused this problem, Nikon's financial report, their predictions in their finances, it became worse than what they thought. That's never good when a company doesn't meet their own standards and it goes worse than what they even thought it would go. Nikon has estimated that they will lose $10 billion in 2020. That's a lot of money to be losing, no matter how big of a company you are. The camera division of Nikon now only makes up 40% of what once was made up of much more of that company. The camera division as a whole, it keeps shrinking and shrinking. So there are major changes that need to be made within Nikon's company and all the other camera companies for that matter. So all of this can't fall back on solely Nikon. The camera division is truly dropping, and we're seeing less and less sales every single year. In 2010, this is really going to get you. In 2010, Nikon had 17,000 employees. And now, in 2019, they only have 10,000. At first, the layoffs just kind of started, and it was probably people that were lazy and didn't work hard, and it was kind of the person that no one liked, and they were just going to lay them off. And, well, at this point, they've laid off 40% of their employees, and that's a lot of employees, that's a lot of jobs just gone. And that should tell you that something is going bad wrong, and they're not going downhill. But like I said, we cannot just blame Nikon for this when camera sales have went down extremely as a whole. We can't just throw Nikon under the bus. All camera manufacturers' sales have went down, even Sony and their mirrorless systems. To solve the problem of camera sales going down, Nikon's either going to have to make more cuts to their budget, which means laying off more employees, or they're going to have to get more revenue from camera sales, and that's what we're going to discuss today and how they can do that. Nikon was quoted as saying in their financial report, "We are going to take further steps to continue cost structure reform." They also said, "Review production and marketing structure, improve sales expense and R&D efficiency." This is basically the fancy term of saying we're going to be laying more people off. By 2022, I expect to see 8,000 employees or less if they continue down the path that they're going on. That's my prediction. We're going to see 8,000 employees or less in 2022 if Nikon keeps falling down this path. I mean, they've lost $10 billion, and companies don't. If I was a company and I lost $10 billion, I would not be keeping that company open much longer. Companies just simply don't keep going and keep providing products when they're losing $10 billion a year. And that's supposed to go even more as the years go on. So they're not going to be keeping that up. Those quotes were released in Nikon's financial evaluation. That's not the exact term. I can't think of it. It's on your screens right now. That's where those quotes were released. So they're not going to flat out say, "Oh, we're going to be laying more people off and we're going to be doing less research for our cameras as that slowly dies out." They're not going to say that. They're just going to come up with a fancy term of saying it so you don't know that they're going to be laying off more employees and that they're going to be doing less and less research on cameras and developing equipment. The fight is not yet over. Nikon has some of the best brand equity that any company's ever had. When you think of Nikon, you don't think of some old little camera that's going to fall to pieces. When you think of Nikon, you think of a professional system doing professional work, and nothing but good thoughts come to your head when you think of Nikon. They're very professional, you know. Well, I have good news for you guys, and that is that Nikon does have a lot of money to devote to research and further studies and to help develop more systems to keep coming with all this stuff. And when I say a lot of money, I'm talking about a lot of money, and I mean $3.8 billion. $3.8 billion. That's a lot of money. Nikon's also a Japanese-based company, and they don't tend to just give up and get out of the business while everything is still going well and they still have a profit. They're going to fight, and they're going to try to get more profit, and they're going to try to keep manufacturing cameras for all of their consumers. So now, here are some of my ideas that I share with other photographers and many other people that know anything about photography and market research. And it's basically how I think that Nikon can come out of this, because there's still hope for Nikon yet. There's a lot of things that I believe they can do to come out of this, and it's not the end of the world. They just need to listen to what the consumer wants, and they need to have these ideas that can bring them out of it. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the Nikon D6. Nikon has already announced the arrival of the upgrade from the D5 coming out in January 2020. However, they are yet to give us a price or any specs on the camera. I think they should go with a price point of around $66.99. This is a higher price than what the D5 was, but quite frankly, Nikon needs this money. This is a system that professionals are going to want in their hands, and I think that they should aim for 15 frames per second with the mechanical shutter. That's a lot. I think Nikon can do it. Their competitor Canon is certainly going to be doing it. With the electronic shutter, I think they should aim from anywhere between 18 and 20 frames per second. This is the only way that I think that the D6 is going to be successful. Professionals are going to want it. They've got to be competing with Canon They've got to be competing with Canon and their new camera that's coming out as well. I think they should also try to incorporate the sensor stabilization system that came out with the Z series, because it's a very good system. So I feel like they should try to incorporate that into the D6. Next, I'm going to start with the Nikon D860. The Nikon D850 was a camera that many photographers loved, so why not make a newer version of it, the D860? I think this camera should release in around June, July, somewhere in that range, so photographers will be anxious to try it at the 2020 Olympics beginning in July. I think, once again, we should price it slightly higher than what the D850 was, at around $42.99. And let's say it'll have 10 frames per second. I also would love to see Nikon implement the same sensor stabilization, once again, that it gave in the Z7, because I would definitely be interested in purchasing the D860 as a lot of other photographers would be as well. The D860 would be a great add-on it would be a great upgrade of the D850 that a lot of photographers love as a full-frame camera. Next, we have the Nikon Z5. I don't have a slide for this because it's not exactly something that we can predict the looks, because there's not one. I think that this is something that Nikon needs. It needs to look at the price of the average consumer, and they're going to have to look at what they want. Something that's very popular right now with the average consumer when they look at a camera is they're going to go into a store, and the Nikon D3000 lineup is something that a lot of stores carry. So they're going to go in there, and this is something that Nikon needs to put on the shelves out there along with the D3000s, except the mirrorless version. So I think the Nikon Z5 should be the mirrorless version of these cameras. So let's say that they're going to price it at $599, and it can come with the kit Z lens, the 16 to 50mm f3.5 6.3 kit lens. Let's not have them focus on video for this one, and let's just leave it at 1080p HD with, I say, around 5 frames per second. And I think that I don't think that there should be a viewfinder for this. A viewfinder, I'm not exactly sure, would be a plus for this camera. I think that they need almost an approach for someone who's interested in YouTube videos, kind of a cheaper roundabout thing of YouTube for YouTube and bloggers, and I think that it should have a flip screen and no viewfinder. However, I say this, but I'm also saying that it should be in 1080p, which you would think it's not focused on video. It's focused on being a photography camera, but I'm saying that YouTubers, I think, should also be interested, and they should evoke their interest by having that flip screen. It would be a great, cheap way for small YouTube channels to incorporate that camera into their production line. So something else I'm thinking is Nikon should introduce another camera in their line of Coolpix cameras, because they've been very successful with that lineup. It's cheap, and it's everywhere you go. Any Walmart, any Costco, any Myers, Super Kroger's, they have them everywhere. I mean, come on. They're known for their pricing and availability on the Nikon Coolpixes. So I think let's upgrade from the B500 and let's have a Coolpix B510. I think it will be a great addition to the lineup. Let's take it from the 16 megapixels in the B500 and let's move it up to 20 megapixels. I think it should have 8 frames per second. The old one had around 7.3 frames per second. I think they should price this camera at $299. That's one of the cheapest point-and-shoot cameras with all of its advanced capabilities that it has. I think that it would be wise to somehow adapt a viewfinder into it, because that's something that we've not seen in the Coolpix lineup. None of them really have a viewfinder, so I think that would be something that would be good. I think that there should be no SD card slot. It should have internal storage somehow where you can immediately upload it to your computers wirelessly or with a cable, and same for your phone. This kind of adds on to something. I think it should be compatible with SnapBridge, but something else I think is Nikon needs to somehow figure out a way to incorporate this camera being able to post straight onto Instagram or straight onto Snapchat or whatever else that you're going to post on. And they kind of need to direct this camera at millennials, and it needs to be something that someone my age would want to pick up instead of their iPhone 11 Pro. And they're going to want to, I don't know, use it, and then they can go straight on there because it's going to make them think they're taking better pictures, whether they would be or not, with their iPhones or Samsungs or whatever camera they have. And then they're going to go on Instagram, they're going to write up a post off their camera, and they're going to post it directly from the camera. I also think the camera should come in multiple colors like the B500 did. You've seen it in purple and blue, and I think I've even seen it in a green before. Don't quote me on that. But, I mean, I think that multiple colors would be something that also evokes interest, especially if it can post directly on social media. Teens are going to be wanting to get different colors in the camera to express themselves. Well, that's about all I have for this video, and in conclusion, Nikon needs to make some major changes to their company. This includes developing new cameras and who they're marketing their products to. And it's a big deal. They really need to get with it to come out of this problem. And let's just hope that they hang in there and they fight it and they conquer it, and Nikon lives to see another day, which I personally believe they will. However, if they don't and they accept the loss and they continue to downslope, I'm saying by 2022 they just have 8,000 employees or less. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Make sure you go down below and like today's video. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell while you're down there so you can see more of me, because I know that you would love to do that. And if you're going to do that, there's also a link down there that takes you to www.artpal.com/RAP, and you can buy any of my best prints there. They're in fine art prints, they're on canvases, mugs, framed prints. You can buy whatever you like, and it helps support the channel and it helps support me, and it would mean a whole lot to me if you would go and purchase one of those. So today it was kind of negative. I have hope for Nikon. I think they're going to pull through this. I think the D6 and the D860 would be two huge sales that would help them with this, as well as the Z5 and the Coolpix B10. I think that both of those would be, I think that all of those cameras would be great addition, would be a great addition to help Nikon grow and face this problem head on. So let's hope they do that. Thank you all for your continuous support on the channel. As always, you can follow me on Instagram at Rollins Amazing Photography. Like I said, there will be no video tomorrow. I upload on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. If you want to enter Photographer of the Week, the steps are down below in the description. Huge shout out to this week's Photographer of the Week, Heather Shaw. Congratulations, Heather. Thanks for supporting the channel. You're really doing some great work. Sorry, I did forget to mention you at the beginning of the video, but here is where it counts, because here's where the dedicated people are. So they're gonna go check out your channel, I'm sure. You can follow her on Instagram and subscribe to her on YouTube using the links below in the description. I have a massive review coming out relatively soon on the Nikon's Nikkor 200 to 500mm lens. I'll shoot Nikon. I hope they're gonna pull through. That's all I've got for this video. I hope you guys have an amazing day.